Yo, what is up, guys? It's Tactician here, and I recently hit Challenger in TFT, so I wanted to make a video on it. It's been a fun climb, something I'm really proud of, and just wanted to share my process of how I did so. So I recently hit Challenger in TFT by climbing about 1,000 LP in less than 2 weeks on what was regarded as the best set slash patch of all time. So yeah, I'm just gonna go over my journey on how we got there. My baseline start was Master 0 LP, as I've always been able to hit Masters in like every set of TFT and was peaking GM in a lot of those sets. I think every set that I've hit Masters, I've peaked GM, but it's always just been up and down. What actually really pushed me to try for Challenger was one of my friends hating on the fact that I spent so much time playing on the game but not being the best. That was probably the start of my villain origin story. I was like, let me lock in, let me do this for real, and I did exactly that. I played about 200 games in 2 weeks, which is like, you guys are like, how do you have time for doing that? I just stumbled on the fact that I had a lot of time for my IRL situation. But yeah, I previously had a background of being high elo in like League of Legends, so there's a bit of interchangeable skills there when you're moving from one game to another. But essentially, I converted to playing mostly TFT just because it's a lot more chill, right? You don't get the mental tax you do from playing League of Legends, and it's more fun to me. To me, but yeah, some of those skills being like understanding tempo, asking yourself constant questions while playing the game. I'm already familiar with what the characters do, right? When you have so many hours on League of Legends, right? You know that's uh, uh, you know that Yasuo dashing like that is just his E from League of Legends EQ combo, and that's all he really does, right? When you add in Yone, he gets another effect, but that's just one of the many examples. Um, Another thing is, the most important thing for like learning how to get good in any game, really, not just TFT, is to watch high elo streamers. Watch the best ones, right? There's tons of educational content on YouTube as well, right? You got guys like Sub-Zero Arc, really popular channel, learning TFT a little bit under the radar. Watching his videos really helped me as well, just to see the mindset of players that are like consistently like challenger or like performing and winning tournaments. Bishop, another great one. Yeah, Setsuko on mute respectfully. No, but if you like the funnier side of high elo TFT content, then those guys are pretty good. But yeah, essentially you want to have good fundamentals, right? I tune into any of my friends streaming TFT, right, that are like anywhere under masters, and the fundamentals are just like, I could safely say that a plat TFT player is like 10 times worse than a plat League of Legends player, just coming from both games. There's just so many things that I'll look at the board and be like, well, this is just not incorrect, right? But your fundamentals get better as you like start to learn more and more about the game, right? There are a baseline of how good you'll be at the game, right? So econ, itemization, line selection, positioning. If you improve at one area, you'll become slightly better at the game. If you continuously improve at all factors, you will eventually hit challenger. That being said, the most important thing you could do in TFT is establish your own play style. You may wonder, what does that mean, establish my own play style? Be like, what kind of game do you like playing? Do you like playing a reroll centric game? Do you like playing a fast 8 type of game? Do you like playing a fast 9 type of game? Do you like just playing strongest board and slamming items and not being concerned about what you're actually playing and just figure it out along the way based on the high rolls you're getting? That's exactly like what establishing your own play style is, right? Because you'll see that, like, if you watch high elo streamers, some streamers just say, yeah, I'm full open at 2-1, make 20 because it's gold opener, and I'm just gonna chill like this, and I'm gonna wait till the game gives me some sort of direction, right? If you don't know what direction means, it basically means the game gives you direction towards what composition you're gonna play. These are all terms that you would pick up on by watching the game or, doing some studying on how the game works and whatnot. So don't stress too much on that. But yeah. My personal playstyle that I feel like I've established that I really like resonates with me is being a tempo Timmy, which entails of establishing some sort of streak when you're ready to spike. And that's usually going to come out at an appropriate time, based on, whether you got a really good augment or you high rolled some 4-cost units in your shop, or you hit your 2-star version of your carry. Like it just all really depends, or like you're bleeding too hard, or like there's so much variance and nuance in TFT that there's no specific timing of when this should be correct. There's always going to be like the general base rules, like a lot of, if you go watch any beginner video on TFT, like, okay, on 4-1/4-2 we're going to level up to 8 and roll down for our 2-star 4-cost units in this fast 8 comp, which entails of a 2-star tank Wukong and our 2-star 4-cost Yone. You know what I mean? But that's not always the case, and that's not always true, because you may find yourself in a position where you're at 4-1 or 4-2, but you just don't have the econ to do so. So then you're gonna have to do it at 4-5. You're gonna have to sack 2 more, etc., and be able to play the game on 2 lives on 20 HP, and that's just the correct play to make. But it's a lot harder to do things like this, like if you're newer at the game, because you may be emotional and panic at the fact that your health points are going down. But the better TFT players will just tell you that health points are just a resource like anything else in the game, like your money, like the amount of items you have. It's just another resource, and you treat it as such, and you don't panic if it goes down. But yeah, there's so much that goes into playing in this manner that it probably deserves its own video. But once you understand this playstyle, you kind of understand that the general rules of TFT are meant to be broken, and that's really how you start to learn to play the game. I often see people asking yes or no questions when I watch streamers, like, I'm on 3-2. What augment should I take out of these options? That is like the worst thing you can do as somebody who's trying to get better at the game, because there's just a lack of information, right? It's like they don't see your spot. They don't know what other people's spots are in your game. They don't even know what comp you're playing, right? And you could tell them these things, but there's still a lack of information there, which is like TFT in a nutshell, right? Like if you're not scouting, right? You're not scouting on 2-1, you hard committed to a comp, and then you scout, and then you see some guys also going your comp, but he just has a way better spot than you. Then like, okay, like now you're either forced to pivot or just play the game from behind, which could have been easily avoided if you had access to that information. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else could I really say here. Like to answer a question like that, like it's gonna depend on what you need, right? If it's 3-2 and you're broke, you take econ. If you're win streaking, combat is generally good. But like at the same time, nothing is absolute, and there's no universal truths, just like in life, right? So yeah, I was able to consume a lot of TFT content and just apply what I learned in my games, then always make what seemed like good decisions to me. And that's not to say that I'm the best or perfect TFT player. I still have a lot to learn, and there still lies a difference between a low ball challenger and a high challenger player, consistently chow player. If we look at my tier graph on March 8th, I was 0 LP Masters, and March 22nd, I patched the challenger cutoff. Played a lot of games this season due to the fact I was in the Box Bootcamp. If you don't know what that is, that's usually a tournament that starts out at every set where streamers will compete to see who can end the highest rank. So I was inclined to play a lot more games during that time period, which I probably racked up like maybe like half of my games this set in that time period. I went pretty hard in that. So but yeah, I finished like 14th out of 80 streamers, which is, compared to my previous placement, was pretty bad, but I still ended up going home with something. You'll see also on my tier graph that flexibility is my strongest point, which is something I want to touch, is that the comps you see on the websites, TFT Academy or Meta TFT or whatever, are a good baseline cookie cutter to copy, but to really truly reach like those strongest boards of TFT, you're going to have to learn how to cook. Especially when you get those emblem games or you high roll or early 4/5 cost on the lower levels. You're essentially what you're gonna have to do is called limit testing in League of Legends, where you just learn how to play your best board off of what you got, and you may not even know what that looks like, but with time, I promise you, with those reps of playing the game, you will get a good feel and sentiment of what that does look like. I would strongly suggest you stay away. Like usually, like if your goal, it depends what your goal is with the game, right? Like if you just want to say, example, you just want to hit masters, you could like one trick to like three trick, you know, 1, 2, 3 different comps. But like if you never experiment with other lines, you'll forever stay in that comfort zone, and you won't be able to play things that could potentially just win you the game, even if they're not considered a high tier composition. That being said, TFT is a game of variance, and it's how you manipulate this variance is what separates the good players from the bad. You can say I got lucky and just banned games, but ultimately something must have clicked for me to have gone on this run. You can even see it at the highest levels of play with players like Wagening Iverson, for example, who won 3 back-to-back major TFT tournaments. Like, that's just insane, no? Like, to win 3 back-to-back tournaments in a game of TFT where so much variance already exists goes to show that there's something within that variance that can be consistently done. But if you have to really know, my most played comp was Yordle's Vigar during this LP climb. I went out a lot playing this, super underrated because like you just permanently generating econ. Like once you get in 8 Yordles, right, it's like you have another econ trait. Easy to 3-star, you know, Ken and Kobuko, and makes the front line easy to hit. Vigar, Fizz 2. If you go 9, you could get Ziggs in, right? Volley 2, Shyvana 2, whatever, depending on what you hit. Yeah, it's really good. If you could get 8 Yordles in at stage 3 with things like Curse Crown or Coronation. Yeah, another thing I want to touch on is that I barely ever use stats. Like a lot of like TFT streamers be like, "Oh, what did the stats say?" Bro, I do not look at stats. Like, wow, I'll be dead ass. Like, I probably looked at stats like maybe like 2 or 3 times, and never augment stats. Really, it's just mostly items to see like if I get an artifact, who is that artifact the best on, in my comp, and like what items go well with that artifact. And that was about it. That was my stats usage. I probably should use them more because it's kind of like cheating, right? If you understand game theory, right, you always want to cheat to give yourself the best possible outcomes to win in whatever game you're playing, right? And that can look more than just like, you know, what are the best items on my carry? Like, you know, what if I just stay level 8 this game and I roll for a 3-star 4 cost while everybody's playing these max cap level 9 boys level 10 boards? Then you just cheat by getting 3-star 4 cost and you just auto win the game, right? Or you get the prismatic vertical 10 Bilgewater, 10 Noxus, whatever the case may be, right? You always want to try to cheat in TFT, and that's gonna always, you know, if you manage to cheat successfully, you're just gonna win the game. Unless someone else is cheating in your lobby, then it's just a battle of the cheaters. But yeah, now that I feel like that I have the credentials to teach people how to get better at the game, I want to be able to use my platform and my content to help others improve at the game as well. Feel free to ask any questions below or even DM me on socials. I'm pretty active nowadays. That's gonna be it for me. Thanks for watching. It's Tac. I'm signing out. Peace.